ayah in Surah Al-Hujurat that ya ayyuhalladhina amanu ijtanibu kathiran min adh-dhann inna ba'da adh-dhann ithm wa la tajassasu wa la yaktab ba'dukum ba'd. So that is the central ayah as it relates to having good intention and not having bad perception about our brother. Remember the way Allah put it, ijtanibu kathiran min adh-dhann. As much as possible, one should avoid bad thinking about a brother. Because what you think in your mind, certainly is going to come out eventually. So even before it comes out, if you don't take care of that, you enter into what is called a tajassus. I give us an example. Tajassus is to be secretly, you want to know what the person is actually doing. That is, you want to follow up the person. It's called a ta'i. For instance, somebody is praying, let's say an example. He's praying and you see him praying very well when the Jama is there. Then the shaitan put it in your mind that why he's praying like this? Maybe it's because he's in the public, people are there. So that one might lead you to observing him next time when he's praying, maybe when people are not there. Like, I want to know the way he will pray now, maybe when people are not there. And if you see it slightly different from the way he used to do, then eventually you must start saying all about that. I said it is because people were praying there. So of course the person who have committed a crime. So that is about the perception. And one of our alim has a poem, and the poem is a good one, as much as possible, that you should say about your brother what that whenever he hears, there's nothing that is hidden under the heaven. Whatever you say secretly, eventually is likely to come out. So that by the time the person hears the thing, he will be happy, even if you see him doing what is wrong. And Shihab al-Mansuri, they used to sing this poem that خطب أخاك بما تسفو موادته ورفق به لا تنافي حوب بغد فالله قال لعالى الخلق منزلته لو كنت فوض غليظ القلب لانفضوا. In fact, I like it because he capped the poem up with an ayah in Quran, Surah Al-Imran, that you should speak about your brother. In fact, if you speak to your brother, what will make his love wax. For instance, that when he hears you talking to him, and I tell us this, and I think I've told us before, that some of our brothers, they are maybe not here, that there are some people usually they don't want to actually move with. Because if they move with them, eventually you leave the space, you will not be happy because of what comes out from their mouth. And we should always know that these words of the mouth that comes out, it can be more dangerous than weapon. Because what you say, you don't know to what extent it's going to cause, whether it is a physiological or emotional harm to that particular person. And he said as much as possible, you should be lenient with your brother and do not drive him away by what you say. And he now capped the poem up that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he even told the Prophet is the best of mankind that has the best behavior. That لَوْ كُنْتَ فَوْضَ وَلِيدَ الْقَلْبِ. If your heart is so hard, if you are the person that usually you are harsh with people, you say things that will make people feel bad, they will run away from nobody want to be spoken evil about. As I'm sitting, if I hear somebody speaking about you, first, you will not be happy. So as much as possible, if you say something, even if they make mistake, until you are aware of the reason why he made that mistake, whether it's a genuine mistake or not genuine mistake, do not say except that is good, so that when he hears, he will be happy. I give us an example, not a specific one. If somebody does something that is wrong, and you now say, perhaps this is the reason why he has done it, that is beyond his capacity. There's no doubt that when that person hears it, he will want to befriend you. He wants to be friends to you. But not the person that you are even waiting for the person to make mistakes, so that when he makes mistake, then you start spreading the news. Now for today's section, inshallah, I hope it to be short as compared to the first one, is to just give us the examples of how our Salaf, they have behaved when it comes to having good perception about people. The first example here is that of Imam Shafi'i, rahimahullah, and one of his contemporary, Imam Ibn Rabi'. That Ibn Rabi said there was one time I went to Shafi'i, rahimahullah, and Shafi'i was quite sick at that particular time. And when I enter upon him, I'll ask us a question about this one. When I enter upon him, he say, Qawwallahu da'afak. May Allah strengthen your weakness. That is like your sickness. May Allah strengthen your weakness, your sickness. My brother, if, Falayazubillah, I pray Allah gives you sound head. But if, for instance, you have headache, at least headache, anybody can have headache, and somebody comes to you and they say, may Allah strengthen your headache. How will you interpret it? Okay, Ahmad, if somebody comes to you, how will you interpret it? You are sick, or let's say headache. So, Ahmad, may Allah strengthen your headache. How will you interpret it? He doesn't want goodness. All right. So this is one of interpretations. But are there other ways that somebody can interpret it? Abu Mariam, is there other way that can be interpreted? May Allah strengthen your, not you now, may Allah strengthen your headache. Okay, it's me. Assuming to say, may Allah strengthen your headache.
I think in mind you need always.
Okay. May Allah bless you both and all of us. Now, when this event happened, it's a real life event. It's an Arabic word, because they were speaking Arabic. Now, may Allah strengthen your sickness. And when he mentioned that Imam Shafi'i rahimahullah, he said, "Law qawwallahu dha'fi qatalani." If Allah strengthen my weakness, my sickness, then I will die. Now, okay, I'm sick. Then Allah should strengthen the sickness. I should make this sickness to be strong. Then Allah, that means I will die. And then Ibn Rabi said, I now told him that, Wallahi, I swear by Allah, ma aradtu illa khayr, that I do not want anything, I do not wish for anything for you except goodness. And Imam Shafi'i responded that A'lam annaka law shatamtani lam turid ila khayr, that anytime, any day, I know even if you abuse me using your words, that you do not wish for me except that is good. Wa fi riwaya, Imam Shafi'i said, you should have said, Qawwallahu quwwatak, that may Allah strengthen your strength, that is, may Allah strengthen your good head. Wa da'afallahu da'afak, and may Allah weaken your weakness. So that is the way, in an Arabic language, the way you're supposed to have put it. And not that Imam Shafi'i was wrong, not that he was angry, but that he knew that what Ibn Rabi meant. That what he meant is that he actually meant what is good, not that what is bad. But then, maybe because of the language, maybe because of something, he put it otherwise. And this is what we have mentioned before. That Ibn Taymiyyah, rahimahullah, may Allah have mercy on his soul, that he said, once your brother says something, and that thing that he has said has different meaning, it can be like it can be like this, then as much as possible, try to take it in the other way around, the one that is best, that is what it means for you. Again, until we are able to establish that this person actually wants what is bad for me. I give you another example again that happens between Ibn Dujana, which is in Tabaqat al-Kubra, and one of the Salaf, that, well, this is not an event, but when Ibn Dujana was about dying, that it was observed by people that his face, like when your face is bright, is shining or something like that. And this thing happens to people that are close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then their face, they used to be bright. That when he was about to die, his face was noticed to be bright, and they asked him a question, that what is it that we see that your face is bright, even though, of course, you are about dying? And he said, I do not know anything. At least the wasiya I can give you, the advice I can give you from what I used to do is that I know I have two things, and only Allah knows best. I have two qualities. That for me, I do not put my mouth into what does not concern me. That is one. And he said, number two is that I do not see a Muslim coming, or a Muslim, except that my heart is pure about that particular person. And that is why the Prophet ﷺ, it is mentioned in the hadith, some say the hadith is da'if, that the Prophet came out one day and he told the Sahaba that none among you should tell me something, of course, that is bad about another person. That because I want to come out every time with a pure heart about everybody. And I've given us an example before that even if you don't want to put your mouth, even if you don't want to say something that is bad about your brother, some people will be head bent to bring that news to you. But then you need to warn this particular person. And I give us an example here in this mosque before. That somebody, of course, went to another person and wanted to say something, and the brother was saying, do not say this thing, do not say it to me. So as much as possible, once you avoid people that probably have that behavior, that want to bring tales to you. And I also want to advise us towards the last end of this, that as much as possible, please do not secretly follow your brothers or your sisters. Because whoever does that, looking for their mistake, Allah is going to humiliate that particular person. That as much as possible, it's in the hadith of Prophet ﷺ, that Prophet one day he climbed the pulpit, the mimbar, and he made the Sahaba, and he was talking to them, that I call you people, do not harm the Muslim, of course, with your mouth, with your work, with whatever you do. Then do not humiliate them, do not embarrass them. And of course, again, this one applies to virtually everybody. And do not follow their private part. That is the literal meaning. That I want to know this thing about this particular person. Except you are an investigator, except you are a policeman, except you are so. But then if you are not so, that's not your work, then you should not follow the secret part of their life. That whoever is trying to follow the secret part of somebody's life, Allah, inshallah, subhanahu wa ta'ala, is going to humiliate that particular person. Even if the person is in the deepest part of his house. And I give us this example. That is what Prophet mentioned in one hadith. And the hadith is that even for us as husbands, that as much as possible, if you are coming home to meet your wife, you have been away for a while, and you are coming, there's nothing called surprise visit in Islam. That I want to surprise you with visit. It is against the Islamic principle. Okay, you have traveled somewhere, you are coming back, and you didn't tell your wife, and you are coming in the night, you say, I want to give her a surprise visit. Or the wife also wants to do that. The Prophet actually forbade Muslims from doing that. And of course, there are many reasons. But one of the reasons is that you should not say, okay, I just want to know what this person is doing when I'm not around. That is wrong. And I gave us an example then. What happened when Prophet told some of those people not to do it, and some of them still went ahead, and of course Allah humiliated them. And inshallah, the last advice in this book here is that my advice for you, wallahi, if you follow this thing, we are going to live good, we are going to live peacefully among ourselves, in such that somebody does not say something, and you now say, okay, perhaps this is what this person means, in a bad thing that when the person hears, his mind will be troubled. Please, as much as possible, we should hold the advice. And the advice that Prophet said, that whoever wants that Allah not make him enter hellfire, فَمَنْ أَحَبَّ أَنْ يُزَحْزَحَ عَنِ النَّارِ وَيُدْخُلَ الْجَنَّةِ فَلْتَأْتِهِ مَنِيَّتُهُ وَهُوَ يُؤْمِنُ بِاللَّهِ. That whoever wants to die is a mu'min. Whoever wants that Allah should make him enter the paradise, then should take this advice. Then وَلْيَأْتِ إِلَى النَّاسِ الَّذِي يُحِبُّ أَنْ يُؤْتَ إِلَيْهِ. Then do unto people what you want people to also do to you. Like I mentioned, nobody wants to be humiliated. Nobody wants to be seen as something is trending on the internet now. That's on the Facebook. I mean, that's on the social media. As much as possible, we should know that whatever we say, and again, whatever we write, and this is what Umar Abdulaziz mentioned, that it is part of your work. That it is part of what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to document as part of your work. And he said that whoever knows that what he says, and of course by extension nowadays, and what he writes that people will not act on, if you know it's part of your worship, then you should be careful what you say, and again you should be careful what you write. I think we lay the discussion to conclusion here. I pray Allah forgive us our shortcoming, and I pray Allah make us enter paradise. The summary has been made. Please have good intention and perception about your brother. Wassalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.